Talking of delightful, what are we doing today, eh?
We're doing Royal Rumble 1992.
Now,
Oh.
when I speak, I've had something built in.
Right.
So it plays the first 3 notes of the Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
theme.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll try it again. Let's
Okay.
go. It works like this.
WWF superstars compete in the Royal Rumble for the undisputed WWF Championship, including Jake the Snake Roberts, the Barbarian, the Model Rick Martel, the Berserker, Rowdy Roddy Piper,
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Nasty Boy Sags, Repo Man, Sergeant Slaughter, alleged real world champion Ric Flair, Hercules, Colonel Mustafa, the Macho Man Randy Savage,
Skinner, and the immortal Hulk Hogan. It's time to rumble! It's time for the Royal Rumble!
Goodbye!
That's all you need.
That is, honestly, if you hear that and you don't get a little bit, then, I mean, there is no hope for you as a wrestling fan.
Everybody is in there.
That is.
Everyone.
And Skinner.
Barbarian.
There are, I think I've got the number right. There are 17 of the 30 entrants are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And that is discounting the people who are going to be in the Hall of Fame, like Undertaker, like Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog. I mean, what a lineup.
Amazing.
What an incredible lineup. Just these stars, the biggest stars in wrestling. And actually, not even, from 1992, but from now.
Yeah.
You hear that and there are household names there
Huge.
like you would not believe.
Where was Brutus? What was Brutus at that time?
Brutus, he'd actually had a nasty parasailing injury.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, he'd had his face rebuilt.
Yes,
At that point, he is working in WWF, but he's got a talk show segment called The Barbershop. Marty Jannetty through the window.
Yeah.
I love this. This is not just the greatest stars. That's not just the greatest piece of music. It's not even like, this is the greatest moment of Vince McMahon's career. That is the voiceover that, if you did that once in your career, you'd go, do you know what? I can rest now because I feel my life has purpose. Did you hear the way I said Undertaker? Wow.
The Undertaker!
I think it is probably the greatest performance in Ric Flair's career of completely great performances. And I think it's probably the best single hour of wrestling action you will ever see.
Oh, it's amazing. And the matches on the card before the actual thing starts are really good. I really, really enjoyed it. So Owen Hart and the Anvil, the new foundation, having a scrap, and the Bushwhackers. I even enjoyed the Bushwhackers. The Bushwhackers. It was the Beverleys versus the Bushwhackers, and Bushwhackers, they were good. I enjoyed them.
I tell you what, though, there's also a bit for us, which is our instant nostalgia.
But I'm genuinely going, how did they get him? How did they get him? How did they get him? This is an expensive show, Mark, because there are some big bloody names in
There
this.
really are.
Wow.
And I think, what's also clever is
Skinner.
you get to see Mr. Fuji in that opening match as well. There's a little bit, he's with the Orient Express. One of them had a mask on. Do you know why he had a mask on?
Because he was Hawaiian.
Yeah, no, he's just American. He was called Paul Diamond. I think he was from Minneapolis. But there's a bit where they all bow to each other, and even Fuji manages to do the bow like the others at the right time. This is a golden, magical night.
Oh, it really, really was a lot of fun. And they even had a dark match as well. Chris Walker and the Brooklyn Brawler. I love talking about dark matches because what did they do to get on the actual telly?
Chris Walker, I think he only even made TV a couple of times.
Right.
Very muscular bloke, quite athletic. But just, the reality is, why do you need a star called Chris Walker when you have got the $1 Million Man, Jake the Snake, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Macho Man,
Everyone.
Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, the Undertaker,
if we're enjoying it, there's a fucking good reason for that. They put everyone that's huge, everyone that's huge, and that are pretty good as well in one ring.
And
Skinner!
This was just magic. Absolute magic.
Roddy gets his only singles title.
He does.
It's just so weird.
A funny little backstage bit on this, which is one of the people who is noticeably not here, is Bret Hart.
Right.
And Bret Hart was doing really well. He was the Intercontinental Champion. And they make a thing in that saying he had a temperature and a fever and he lost to the Mountie in a match that was not really shown on television. I think it later got shown in a sort of clip or a video, but it was a nothing match.
Yeah.
He basically just got rolled up. And he's not in the Royal Rumble. The reason was his contract was coming coming to an end, and he was, I think, negotiating with WCW. They wanted him to debut on Clash of the Champions 18, so they had just moved him out of the picture entirely.
Yeah.
But that is the man who would go on to end Ric Flair's second WWF title reign, the one man he doesn't face in this Royal Rumble. It's so well booked, all of this. The history of the Royal Rumble is fascinating. It comes out of Battle Royales, or Battle Royals. Do you know when the first Battle Royal was?
The Somme. I don't know.
Earlier than that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was the first.
1743.
Right, okay.
There was a boxing exhibition in Oxford Street in London, and they advertised a battle royal where 9 boxers fought at the same time, and it was last man standing.
Wow.
And that continued throughout the 1800s into the early 1900s, where you'd have boxers and big melee fights and things. It finds its way into wrestling, especially when boxing begins cleaning up its act. And lots of battle royals over the years where the wrestlers would get in the ring at the end, and it would be whoever was the last person to remain in the ring, everyone else going out over the top. And some territories they did much better than others. So San Francisco, it was a huge event, and it was almost like their regional WrestleMania in San Francisco during the 50s and 60s all the way through to the 70s. And one of the big wrestlers in San Francisco at that time was Pat Patterson. And in 1987, he was super aware that the San Francisco Battle Royales had been the big... I always call it Battle Royale. I think some people do prefer Battle Royal.
Really?
But
I mean...
I prefer, it flows easier, Battle Royale,
don't they?
I mean, the royal bit is sort of extraneous anyway.
No.
It's the least royal thing I can think of. 30 men addicted to Ica Pro, dressed as tradesmen, fighting each other. It's not hugely royal.
No.
But the idea behind it, that Pat Patterson had was, let's do a twist on this, and I think it could work. And he came up with the idea of going staggered entrances.
Yeah.
So
every 2 minutes.
Every 2 minutes,
right.
a new person comes in. The first one took place in 1987, the house show. And there were, I think, 20 people in it. It only lasted 12 minutes. It came down to Junkyard Dog and the one-man gang. And it wasn't recorded, so the only people who saw it were the 2,000 people in there. Wow. Annoyingly, one-man gang and Junkyard Dog had had a terrible match earlier, so when they were the last two, everyone was like, oh, Jesus, these two. One-man gang pushed him out. And the prize in that Royal Rumble was to win a title shot at the next show taking place. I think that was in St. Louis. St. Louis?
St. Louis, Spirit of St. Louis.
St. Louis.
It's got a big arch. I didn't go up it.
Yeah. You'd win the big title shot and one-man gang won that. Problem is, in the interval before this took place, they'd said, remember to get your tickets for next time when Hulk Hogan will be facing the one-man gang. So people realised something had gone wrong. They'd announced the winner before it happened. It couldn't have gone any
Fantastic.
worse. They then have the 1988 Royal Rumble, and the Royal Rumble then becomes part of the pay-per-view schedule, and it's always been thrilling. It's always good. It's fun. It's got a
last day of school kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like everyone's just having a nice time.
It's making it different from how it normally is for the rest of the year. There's this one match that you only see once a year, and all the big stars come out for it.
I just sort of like the idea of like Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan and everyone who was on the bill just going for a big old drink later. And I bet that's what they were thinking about when they were wrestling.
There's a funny thing as well where for a lot of wrestlers, this is a huge, big main event that they only have to be in for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do a great deal of work. You don't have to put a match together. You just have to know how to go out.
Yeah.
Hornswoggle.
He's very rude on shoot interviews online. What a rude little man.
What a rude little man. He was saying the way that it's worked out is you're told who you're going to be eliminated after and before, and you're told...
Keep it simple for everyone.
You need to do this when X comes out. So you're sort of...
So you know your as soon as you see that person, you know to go.
Right.
Has that person gone yet?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So it's also a little bit, improvised. The whole thing isn't just straight down the line. So that's fascinating.
It'd be hard to really do it all together, I guess, wouldn't it?
Massively, yeah.
I'm just thinking the post-it notes on a board. Oh, bloody hell. Jesus.
The last couple of Royal Rumbles have been won by Hulk Hogan. So they're big events. This one is extra special. So the prize for the winner of this Royal Rumble is the WWF title.
Yeah.
But this is Ric Flair's night. And what they do really cleverly is they book it in such a way that Flair comes in, so if you don't know who he is, not only is he going to last an hour, which is the longest anyone's ever done, and therefore he's the best, you are going to see him take on every single star in the WWF, and he's still going to be victorious. It is the perfect setup for a character they were having a little bit of difficulty getting over.
Well, I guess, that does put him over, but does that not put everybody else on your roster at risk? Sort of saying, here's the line, and the line has got white hair, he's 43, he's on a second wife of 5.
Very true. Just have a listen. This is the promo that Flair does just before he starts, and what you get the impression of is Flair is not told, really, that he's going to win until very, very soon before this. I think even on the day he arrives, he's not even quite sure.
Yeah.
And what he's got here is this is a Ric Flair who in the 1991 has left WCW, has no self-confidence. He really feels broken down. And this is Flair being given his mojo back. And this interview is everything that's great about Ric Flair.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Today we find out who's the fairest of them all. We're at the Royal Rumble, and 30 of the greatest World Wrestling Federation superstars gathered today to find out who is the man. For 4 months, I've called myself the real world champion. So for me, there's no back door. But remember, boys, and that's to all 29 of you, I've lived one way. And one way only, and that's with the belief to be the man, you have to beat the man. And today, at the Royal Rumble, I am the man. Woo!
So thrilling. This is a man who is just... He knows what's going to happen, and he's going, I have got 100% of my Ric Flair ability back and on display. I'm here with all of these larger-than-life characters,
yeah.
And you know what? There's nothing larger than life than Ric motherfucking Flair.